breathing while running shouldn't feel like a panic attack, but for most people, it does. Forget everything you've been told about breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. It's probably making your running worse. I ran over 700 kilometers and finished a marathon in 2025 so far. Here's what I've learned so you don't make the same mistakes. When I started running 4 years ago, everyone said, do this, do that, but our noses, our lungs, our throats, everything is different. And so what works for one person will not work for the other person. And so whatever advice I received, it never worked for me until I actually started running a lot, and then I just had to figure it out. And most of the advice doesn't work because it's overall generic advice in through your nose, out through your mouth. I wouldn't say that's the best thing. Oftentimes it can actually make things worse. So first of all, I want to say that there's no perfect way. You need to find your way. Whatever I tell you, I can give you advice, but long story short, what you need to do is you need to figure out what works for you. Some people have asthma, some people have allergies, so a generic advice doesn't work. A good marker of your breath while running is if you're able to speak while you run. If you cannot speak while you run, it means you're running a little bit too fast, you're pushing yourself too much, and you should slow down a little bit, and therefore you'll be able to have a controlled breath. What works great for me is breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. That's how I try to breathe throughout my life. This is a good way proven by doctors, and I'll explain why in a bit. But first, a very good recommendation is doing deep breaths. Oftentimes you will find that you're running and it's a bit tight in the chest. The way you can relieve this tightness is by breathing deeply. You might have heard of Wim Hof and his book, The Wim Hof Method. When I read it, actually, before I started running, I learned how to breathe. Because of the amount of stress, people don't breathe deeply. The breaths are shallow, short, and it's like and if you pay attention to how you breathe when you stress out, then that's exactly how you breathe. It doesn't help. And when you breathe like this, it also brings stress to your body. But what relieves stress is deep breaths. So breathe deeply, like full in, full out. It's great. If you want to alleviate stress in your everyday life, you can also give this a try. Coming back to the nose breathing, there's actually been studies done on that, and the mouth breathers have the structure of their face changed because of the way they breathe. They actually start looking a little bit ugly. So if you want to look pretty, breathe through your nose. I don't remember exactly everything about the studies. You can do deeper research, but I think the face shape just becomes less of a model-like, and if you want to have like a pretty model-like face, you need to breathe through your nose. So that's what I do throughout my life. I try to do it as much as possible, and that's what I try to do throughout my runs. But it doesn't mean you cannot breathe with your mouth while running. Usually you need to breathe with your mouth when you push yourself, when it becomes a little bit hard, like you're running up the hill or you're running super fast, and that's okay to breathe with your mouth a little bit, although I still try to minimize that as much as possible. With mouth breathing, you are able to get a lot more air into your lungs, therefore more oxygen. That oxygen goes into your muscles, and therefore your muscles work better. But you shouldn't breathe with your mouth all the time, because if you do that, it means you're pushing yourself too hard. Basically, most of the runs should be like easy runs, long runs, because you shouldn't push yourself all the time. That just exhausts yourself, and it doesn't help. And it also doesn't help because if you push yourself, it means that this run is hard. It means you want to avoid that in the future, and it means that it's going to be harder to start the next run. And if you push yourself all the time, it's probably not sustainable. You're going to quit running, so it's not a good idea. It's always good to run easy, and then with time, the more you run, the easier it becomes to run, and therefore you run faster. But don't run fast from the very beginning. The more months or even years you run, that easy stays the same, like the feeling stays the same, but you run faster just because you get used to that. Like you run faster automatically. So that's the way it should be done. You shouldn't be like pushing yourself. When you run up the hill or you run fast, yeah, certainly you can go ahead and breathe with your mouth. Although I still try to minimize that, and I try to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let me give you an example. These long exhales, when you put your lips together and make them hard, you don't allow all the air to go out very fast. It's like a long exhale. And by these long exhales, you are relaxing your nervous system, which also slows your heart rate down, which means that you don't need to breathe as fast, and it helps recover better. Now, coming back to controlling your breath, if you lose your breath a little bit, this is the way you can find it, by inhaling through your nose, out through your mouth, slowing your heart rate down, and finding your breath again. How do you actually apply all of this on your next run? First of all, pay attention and learn your body. Do deep breaths, start slow and progress a bit by bit. Don't push yourself too much, especially in the very beginning, and try to use the nose breathing and then your mouth if you need that extra boost and that extra energy. If you found this video valuable, be sure to subscribe, and also you might like this video here, so go ahead and click on it.